Hey there. So, I'm all about keeping course creation quick and easy. So, today I'm going to share some real life techniques that I've been using to create my latest course. And you can copy these same techniques to make your next course quick and easy to create.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here is your host, Julie Hood.
Wow, I cannot believe that we are at episode 111. As I was typing that this morning, I realized I wanted to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast, because without you, it would not exist. And it's one of the highlights of my week to put this together and blast it out to the world and hopefully help you along the way. So I also have two incredible specials to share with you as a listener to this podcast. So the first one is if you need help actually creating your course. So you're in that space where you're trying to get a course created. I've got the DIY version of the 24-hour course creator program, and you can get $200 off. Plus, you'll be able to apply that investment against the next live groupings coaching session. So the next time I do it as a group, you can take the amount that you've spent and apply that. So if you're interested in checking this out, go to coursecreatorshq.com/24podcast. That's /24podcast, and use the coupon code podcast to save yourself $200. And I will put the link in the show notes for you too. But if you're in that space where you're like, okay, I've got a course created now, I just need help selling it, then I'm also offering a free month inside Course Profits Accelerator. If you want to jump on that, it's officially supposed to start October 1st, but you can jump in now and you'll go all the way until this round ends at the end of March. So you'll get 7 months. So go to coursecreatorshq.com/CPA podcast, or use the link in the show notes and use coupon code podcast for that one too. So it will save you $100, plus you'll get that extra month. All right. So today's session is actually an in the weeds kind of session. And it is real life, exactly what I'm doing right now, creating my latest course. So I'll give you a little background about what happened. Kajabi is one of my favorite platforms for a couple different reasons. One is that the student experience is so good. I love taking classes that are created on Kajabi. Also because it's an all-in-one, so it's a great place for my non-technical students to hang out and make their lives easier because everything is in one tool. And they put together this really incredible offer at the beginning of August. And it's expired now, but I wanted to also do some live coaching to really help people get set up. And so I decided to do this 2-month-long Let's Get Your Kajabi Set Up training course. And I knew it was going to be a lot, but I didn't quite realize how much it was going to take and how much time it was going to take. So I've had to come up with some techniques, because each week I'm giving them a whole module and I'm creating them as I go. So it's been a real challenge to try to get them out every week on time. So here's a few of the things that I have been doing so that you can use these techniques when you're at that place where you need to create a course quickly and you need to be super efficient about it. Here's some of the things that I have been doing. So the first one is the workbook that we're using is all in one file. So it's not like I have a workbook for each week. It's all in one file. So I can go back and copy slides that I'm reusing really easily, really quickly. So that's been super helpful to just be efficient as I'm creating the workbook. The second piece of this is that the workbook is also my presentations. So I'm keeping those the same. I create the presentation in PowerPoint, And then I print off those same slides for the week, and that becomes the workbook. So that has saved trying to have like 2 different files, to have a workbook in one file and the presentation in another, and trying to keep them in sync. It's just all one file, and I just print off the slides that apply for that week to print the workbook. Okay. The second thing I have been doing is turning off notifications when it's time to create and really time to focus, because it's so easy, especially my phone is constantly going off, and it's so easy to get distracted. Like, I need to be 100% focused on what I'm doing to make sure that I can get this done in the time that I have allotted. The next thing I've been doing is creating the video parts first. So I'm doing a lot of, here's how you go into Kajabi and where you click, and showing the screens as people are creating their site and their course. So I do that first, and then I'm going back and creating the checklist and the to-do lists and the workbook part of it for them. So instead of trying to get the workbook together first and then trying to create the videos, it's easier to do the videos first, and then I can fill in the workbook from there. So the other piece of it, as you're thinking about, usually in a module where this is really big, each module has usually between 6 to 9 lessons in it. So when you have modules that big, you really want to have an intro lesson for people. It's kind of a, here's what we're doing this in this module. So, but that's actually the last lesson I create. So if you think about this process, as I'm going through and I'm creating the 9 different lessons, then I go back and I create the getting started lesson at the end, because that way it can be accurate and include everything that it needs to. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is I'm really trying, and I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I'm getting pretty close at trying to have one-take lessons. So for some of you who are brand new, this might be a little bit trickier, but it's a good goal to have of, I'm not going to redo these lessons 50 times. So I have 1 take, maybe 2, and that's all I've got time for. That's got to be good enough, and it seems to be working out. So that's the next idea for you. And then sort of related to that, and this is a really advanced idea, so it's not going to apply to everyone, but in case it would help you, here's what I'm doing. I'm using a tool called Searchie, which is an additional fee, and it hosts videos. But one of the main things that I like about it is when I host my videos there, it automatically inserts the captions into the videos for me. So it's great to create a video that people can actually watch and see the captions across the bottom, and they don't have to, I don't have to do anything special to make that happen. It just automatically inserts them. So the really great thing about Searchie, the second piece of it, is that it has a tool that you can use in your Chrome browser so that you can record and automatically load the video into Searchie. So I sit down, I kick off the browser Searchie recorder, record my lesson, complete it, and then it automatically uploads it into Searchie, automatically inserts those captions. So for anybody who has been doing that whole create the video, save the video, download the video, upload the video, all of that nonsense, it definitely is saving a lot of time there for me. And the one big piece of this that you should know is there's no editing in this process. So this goes back to the 1 take videos kinds of things. You know, when I'm using this Searchie recorder, you can't go back and change things up or edit things out. So it's you have to be good at the 1 take lessons. And if I mess up, what I end up doing is I just delete the video from Searchie and re-record. Because of the way this course is structured, where I'm teaching all of these lessons about Kajabi, I am keeping these videos super short, shorter than I typically would, I'll be honest. But I'm doing that so in case things change, I can go in and just change one 5-minute video. It's not a 15-minute long video that I have to go back and redo. And it makes the whole process with Searchie a little better. So if I do happen to mess up once, it's just a short 5-minute video to redo. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a little hard to explain without having the screen to show you. But the concept is that I've got Searchie to let me record directly into the hosting. And that way I can do these lessons and have them uploaded. And then I just use their embed feature to embed them into my Kajabi lessons. Rather than using, those of you who use some of these tools, they'll have usually a special place where you put your videos in. That's not what I'm doing with this. If you decide to use a video hosting tool, you usually have to use that embed feature where you put the actual code into the lesson. So like I said, this is a very much of an in the weeds session today, getting into putting code into your lessons and hosting your video files, but it has been a big time saver. So the other thing that I'm doing is there are some pages in the workbook that people want to print out. I'm not recommending that they print out the whole thing because there's a lot of pages that use a lot of ink. And so there's certain slides for certain lessons that would be good to print out though. There's some checklists, there's some worksheets, some brainstorming worksheets. So I've been putting those into individual PDFs for the students. So if they just want to print like the brainstorming worksheets, that PDF is on that lesson for them. Or if they just want to print the checklists for how to create your landing page, that's in a separate PDF for them. The next thing I did is I created generic thumbnails for each module, and those were all created ahead of time, so it's really, really simple. I don't have unique thumbnails for each lesson. I just have, a thumbnail that goes on every week 1 lesson, a thumbnail that goes on every week 2 lesson, and that way it's super quick because they're already created. I just pop those in, and I didn't want that to be time consuming, so when you create those ahead of time, it's really easy to add them into your lessons. The next thing I'm doing is I included the email templates that are going out to the students. So we're doing this live every week. We have a coaching session and they're getting this module of lessons for the week. So I'm reusing my email templates and just duplicating them. And I've got the links that are the most important repeated in every single email. So there's a login link, there's the link to the workbook for the week, and there's the link to get signed up and log into Kajabi. All of that is in one email. I just copy it and change the stuff for this week and send it out. So reusing those emails is a super efficient way to make that happen. The other thing is typically when I do a course, I really like to have it outlined fairly well before I get started. So I know how is this all going to fit together and where am I covering different lessons? Well, I didn't really have time for this. This was kind of a last minute, let's get this up and running kind of thing. So instead, I put together a module outline. So I made sure that I knew what I needed to cover every week of the 9 weeks. And I pulled that into a list. And I don't know what the individual lessons are each week. I'm just filling in the blanks as I go. But that way, at least I made sure that over the 9 weeks, I should be able to cover everything that I wanted to because I know which week the different topics are going to happen. So not ideal, but it's working. Number 12 is to set aside some uninterrupted time when you can work on this. So for example, Mondays are my busiest day of the week, busy day with my clients, lots of stuff going on. That is not the day to be working on this. I was picking a day when usually it was over the weekend, I'll be honest, where I was putting these things together and I could get that uninterrupted time to get going. And then the last thing I'll mention is it would have been super helpful if I had done this. So I'm going to pass this along for you. And that is to try to work 2 weeks out, because then I could have had my assistant helping with some of it. I'm doing a lot of really detailed checklists, and so I could have passed those off to her if I had had a little bit more time and worked 2 weeks ahead. Then she could have helped me with that. So even when you're doing kind of a time-sensitive class, if you can try to work a little bit ahead, it will be even better for you. So I hope these ideas give you at least one thing that you can use going forward to pull your course together more quickly than you would have before. And in case you're interested, the Kajabi Kickstart program is still open. It's the beginning of September, so we do have some time left for the coaching calls. So if you're interested, you are definitely welcome to come join us. And it's been super popular, one of my more popular courses. So I'm going to put that link in the show notes too if you want to find out about it. So hopefully you've gotten some great ideas and it's made you think about how could I do this more efficiently, because that's the real goal. I want you to make sure that you can get your courses created, get them out into the world, get the revenue coming in, and you are helping people as quickly and easily as possible. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. And thank you for reviewing this podcast. It really does help as we are trying to build the audience and get in front of more folks. So thanks so much. Have an incredible week, and we will catch you next week on the next episode. Take care.